happen to love pretty much all things 90s style, especially jeans, so you can imagine my surprise and delight when I found out that Saint Laurent came out with a pair of 90s jeans, and I have them here today. And the reason I wanted to make this video is because if you're curious about these jeans, they are very, very expensive. So I wanted to provide some educational content so you guys could get a close-up of some of the fine details that really make these a little bit more elevated and special in the sense of being a higher end designer. That way you can make a little bit more of a informed decision if you decide you want these jeans or not. So that's what this video is going to be. I will insert the try-on clips. I will insert the close-up videos of the fine details, some of the stitching and things that make them a little bit more special. When it comes to spendy fashion purchases, I think that to each their own in regard to your financial matters, but I think that everyone should make mindful and informed decisions. So that is why we're here today. And if you are new here, I'm Tasha Julie and I'm an LA-based fashion stylist, so I see a lot of clothes. So let's get into these jeans. These again are the Saint Laurent 90s jeans, and they are considered a higher rise, long length jean. That's what their website tells us. But they have also a little bit of a mistake mentioned on their website because they tell us that these are a zip fly, when in fact it is a button fly. Not the end of the world, but something I think that hopefully they can correct, because when you're asking people to give you over $1,000 for a garment, it should have an accurate description. At least that's just my opinion. Maybe I'm being nitpicky, but I don't love that. Fix that. All right, so let's talk about these jeans as a whole. And as a whole, no, there's no holes in these jeans. So let's talk about these jeans and let me show you some of the fine details and insert the try-on clips, and we'll discuss if this is something that might be on your purchase list or not. All right, so first things first, when it comes to the fine print on these jeans, they are 100% cotton. I'll touch a little bit more on that later on in this video and how I feel about it, but at least for your information for its washability or lack thereof, if you've watched any of my other high-end denim reviews, some of these jeans say that you can't put them in the washing machine. These do not say that. These say that you can wash them, you can put them in the dryer on a low or medium heat. It even says you can iron them, which they're 100% cotton, so I don't see why not. So that is a plus in my book, because I really don't want to take jeans to the dry cleaner or any of those types of things. It's too high maintenance for me. So that was a nice to know. So the composition as far as 100% cotton was readily available on the website, but none of the measurements were. So the rise, how far across, or the measurement for the waist, the inseam length, none of that is available on the website. And for me, I thought that was kind of an annoying experience, because this is a luxury designer website. And if I'm going to shell out a large sum of money for something, I want that information to be available to me. It should just be easy. It should be right there. I mean, a lot of retailers give measurements to their garments. It shouldn't be an Easter egg hunt, in my opinion. So I didn't love that. But I measured them for you. So for reference, I took a size 26. So my thought process behind this being, I'm typically a true 25 in most jeans. I live in the United States. So if you're wondering about size reference for that, I do notice in my journeys around clothes that a lot of the European higher end designers tend to run a little bit smaller, or even maybe truer to size. Our sizing here in the US tends to, in my opinion, run a little bit large. So that was my long way of saying I took a size 26 because as a usual 25, I thought, well, this is a higher end designer and it might run a little bit small, so I don't want to do the 25. I'm going to take my chances with a 26, and I was right. These are a little bit more small in regard to the other sizing of jeans that I have that are all a size 25. So, and then also being 100% cotton, kind of a rigidy cotton, I'm glad that I did the 26. I feel like a 25 would have been too small. So let me tell you the measurements for the size 26. The waist, so across the very top part of it, measured 13 inches. I will insert centimeters in case you're not in the US using our dumb measurement system. And then the rise, I need to actually do that. So when it comes to rise, it is from the top of the button, so like where they end at the top by your belly button, from the crotch, and these are about 11 inches, which is great because whenever I am shopping online and I need to know the rise of something, if it doesn't tell you if it's high, mid, or low, I typically don't fancy anything that goes less than 10.5 inches. I find that that's kind of the sweet spot. It needs to be higher than 10.5 inches so that you're not taking any chances, blind buying something online and you get it and you're like, what are these 2000s Britney Spears pants that go down to my bikini line? So 10.5 is my general rule of thumb. If you've got other pairs of pants that work for you, it might be a nice idea to get the measurement on them. That way you know what works for you. Let's take a closer look at these jeans and I will show you some of the fine details that I do like. There are also some that I don't care for. So let's talk about some of these things, and I will insert close-up clips as I talk about some of the details that may be harder for you to see from over there. So the first thing that I do like about these jeans is this kind of little detail here, a little kind of diagonal seaming. I think this is kind of cool and interesting. The other good thing about this, not that anybody ever uses this little coin pocket on jeans, like I've literally never used this. Once I put a piece of gum in one of mine and ended up putting it in the washing machine and dryer, so I usually don't use these, but this is nice. Some of them are so small that you can't even get your finger in it, but like I said, kind of pointless because I feel like most of us are not really using that. I feel like it's kind of an outdated, like nostalgic, historical feature of jeans. And then on the back, the other good details about these are that the pocket placement is spot on in the center, and the sizing. In case you missed one of my other videos that I've made on how to shop for jeans, one of the key points of the back part of the jeans is exactly this, the pocket placing. If they are too high, too low, too far into the center, too wide to the outside, all of those types of things will cause kind of a strange appearance on your bum. So for instance, if they're too low, it will cause the appearance of a saggy bum. If they're too wide toward the outside of the jeans, it can cause your bum to look wider than it is. And then the opposite, if it's in the center, if they're too close to the center, I mean, it can kind of look like your bum is closer together, sort of like your face when you're thinking of like blush placement. So if it's here, that's going to draw attention and kind of scrunch in your face. Same thing with pocket placement on jeans. So altogether, they've gotten this design right. And then anybody who's the fashion enthusiast, you can see that they are actually labeled with the Saint Laurent detail if that is important to you. They also have it on the button. So altogether, the details on these jeans, nice, well done, what I would expect for a designer pair of jeans. Nothing mind-blowing, but decent. And since there's no such thing as an impartial observer, let me tell you about some of the things that I don't care for on these jeans. And that is going to be things like this whiskering detail. It is on both sides. It's not egregious, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's even a little bit through the kind of crotch area. So I don't love this kind of detail on jeans. I feel like it can look a little bit outdated. It's not really my favorite thing, especially for longevity. And I think when it comes to paying over $1,000 for a pair of jeans, at least in my personal rule book, I'm going to want longevity from them. So I'm going to want to be able to wear these for a very long time because I need to get my money's worth out of it. And kind of weird little details that show when they were made or purchased that can cause them to look outdated. Not really a vibe in my book. If this doesn't bother you, or maybe you love this kind of thing, completely up to you, but it was something that I noticed that I did not care for. The other thing that is painfully obvious in the try-on video, we need to talk about the length of these jeans. So for reference, I'm 5'4", which I realize is not tall, and about 100 pounds. And these jeans are insanely long. Can't even get them to fit in the camera scape, but you'll see them in the inserted clip so that you can kind of get the full view of the length. All right, so this is my thought on the length. It is extremely long, and I think it's intentional. So hear me out on this one. During Milan Fashion Week, I saw a pair of jeans, I'm pretty sure it was from the Attico, I'll insert that clip too, that was intentionally like miles long so that you could scrunch them up. I think that's going to be one of the style trends that we're going to start seeing more of with the jeans. With jeans. So I don't think that these were intended to be a regular like length for any human aside for maybe Elsa Hosk, but I don't think anybody else could make this inseam work. And here's the other kind of small gripe that I have regarding the length. It doesn't tell you the length on their website. So in my other videos that I've created to help you guys shop for jeans, I have talked at length about researching the fine details of the jeans. Most websites will tell you the inseam measurement, the rise measurement, even sometimes the width of the opening at the bottom of the jeans. So all of those measurements are typically provided on most websites. And then we get into somewhere like Saint Laurent, who wants us to pay $1,050 for jeans, and they won't tell you any of the measurements. Given they do say there's a little chat bubble on the website and you can ask a sales associate for help, but that's something that I'm going to just kind of want to be able to research on my own from a high-end designer that expects a big sum of money for their product. Like, help a girl out. What's the inseam on this? So since they don't tell us, I grabbed my measuring tape, and it's like the garage one because my clothing one's in the car, but let's measure these. BRB. All right, so I have my garage handyman inseam measurer, and I'm going to measure the inseam of these pants. Okay, so the inseam on these measures about 34.5 inches, which in my opinion and experience as a stylist is long. So typically, unless you're ordering the longer pair, as some websites can do like petites and then taller, but for a regular inseam, I normally see them in the range of 30 to 32. So these are absurdly long. But the long length really isn't the most egregious thing. Like, if you really loved the rest of the jeans and they worked for you, it would be fine to go and get them altered, given it is another small cost added to an already pricey pair of jeans. But being 5'4", a lot of things don't fit me off the rack, and that's not my biggest gripe, but it's something that I wanted to point out to you guys just for kind of the educational purpose of this content, is that these are extremely long. Again, I don't know if that's intentional, kind of referencing back to that pair from the Attico, where we might start seeing extremely long, scrunched up intentionally, like weird inseam jeans. So maybe that's the vibe. If that's something that you don't like, or if you're not interested in having to go and get your jeans hemmed, then these may not be for you. But that was one thing that I noticed that was probably the most problematic. And then the other thing that I personally did not love, which for the price tag of these jeans, I would need to like really love them, like so much that I want to marry them. But they are 100% cotton. I knew that going into this because it does detail that accurately on the website, but they don't feel like other jeans that I have that are also 100% cotton. They are a little bit more rigid. These are a little more in tune with the Kate jeans that just really kind of feel like they don't have any elasticity. They're not very soft. They're not very stretchy. They are more rigid. So if that's also something that you don't love, then these might not be your cup of tea. All right, so at the end of the day, when it comes to these pricey Saint Laurent 90s jeans, are they something that you need? I'm gonna leave that up to you. It could be something that would work for you if you are a fashion girly, if you are on the taller, more slender side, where a rigid all cotton jean is going to work for you, and you like a 90s fit, and you're also like heavily into luxury designer, these may be the thing for you. If this is not kind of your cup of tea, or $1,050 plus tax for jeans is just something that you're not interested in doing, I will link a couple of pairs in the description box below that I think will float your boat as much, if not more, than these jeans, and they will also allow you to probably pay your rent during the same month. So I'll put that in the description box below. But I hope you found the little tour and close-up and try-on of these jeans helpful. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you soon.